I never thought my husband would dare try to marry my best friend as his second wife. But I wasn't the only one ready to fight. She came back from the battlefield, and let's just say, he didn't see it coming. Xie Zhibai had no idea that the female general he intended to elevate as his equal wife was actually my best friend stationed at the distant frontier. When I confronted him, he merely shoved me aside impatiently. She's nothing like you, so dull and wooden.
What are you nitpicking about now?
But if Lingshuang ever found out, she would beat him to death. Just then, someone caught me firmly before I could stumble. I turned around. A valiant woman in full military armor raised an eyebrow at me. Lu Wanning? This is the pile of cow dung you married?
One.
The moment I heard that familiar voice, I instinctively turned my head. Seeing that radiant face, I lit up in surprise. Lingshuang. Luo Lingshuang, the daughter of the general who pacifies the frontier, had been my closest childhood friend. Later, she followed her father to the borderlands, but we continued to exchange letters often. Our bond had never faded. Not long ago, she had written to me, Lu Wanning, I'm back. Came back alongside the cow dung you married. Cow dung was Luo Lingshuang's nickname for Xie Zhibai. When she learned that I had married, and that I had married Xie Zhibai, the eldest legitimate grandson of the prestigious Xie family, she asked me only one question. Did you marry him willingly? It felt as though, if I had said no, she would have ridden back from the frontier that very moment and chopped him down herself. Just like when we were children and my stepmother's son used to bully me, she would pick up a stone and hurl it at his leg without hesitation. Lu Wanning is under my protection. Who the hell do you think you are bullying her? If you try that again, I'll smash your head in. A tiger's daughter from a military family never made empty threats. My stepbrother howled in pain, baring his teeth and crying loud enough to shake the heavens. But Lingshuang wasn't me. My stepmother would never dare offend the general's only daughter. From then on, no one bullied me again. Even when she left Jinling and said goodbye, she told me, after I'm gone, don't be a pushover. If anyone dares bully you, write to me. Don't think Jinling is thousands of miles from the frontier. I've got plenty of ways to kill him. I never imagined that years later, she would still be exactly the same. Staring at that letter, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She didn't know. She hadn't changed, but everything else had. My mother died early. I survived under my stepmother's roof. I was nothing more than a sheltered girl in a deep household compound. How could marriage ever be something I got to choose? Not to mention how many families were involved behind the scenes. If I had written back saying I was unwilling and caused a scene, it would only have dragged her into trouble. So I merely wiped the corner of my eye, ground the ink beneath candlelight, dipped my brush, and wrote carefully, word by word. Lingshuang, I am willing. No matter how imposing the Xie residence might be, it could hardly be worse than the Lu household. So marrying into it didn't seem so bad. Didn't that count as willing?
2.
After I sent that letter, a long time passed without a reply. It wasn't until my wedding day that a servant from the Luo family in Jinling hurried over, delivering a letter and a jade pendant of exceptional quality. The servant looked at me holding the pendant with an odd expression, as if wanting to say something but holding back. He only said, "This is a wedding gift from our young lady. She says the frontier is at war again. Tens of thousands of troops are involved. She couldn't get away to come to Jinling and see you off. Lingshuang and I aren't ones to fuss over formalities." I truly didn't mind. I glanced at the jade pendant, then opened the letter. Inside were only a few bold, sweeping characters, every stroke dripping with the frontier soldier's disdain.
Signed.
A fresh flower stuck in cow dung. 3. Me. I couldn't help laughing through my tears. My pre-wedding anxiety lightened considerably. I knew she was standing up for me, but she had guessed wrong about one thing. Because 3 years ago, on our wedding night, Xie Zhibai didn't even step into the bridal chamber. He left immediately after saying one warning. You were never the wife I wanted. But since you've married into this family, serve my parents, honor the elders, and fulfill your duties. I knew he didn't like me, his legal wife. But as the eldest legitimate grandson of a powerful aristocratic clan, his personal preferences weren't all that important. He could take concubines or bedchamber companions as he pleased. But the position of principal wife had to be filled by a young lady carefully chosen by his parents. A proper match in status and background. And that person was me, the eldest legitimate daughter of Lu Xingling, the Minister of Revenue. My mother had come from the prestigious Wang clan of Longxi. On paper, I was the perfect choice. For a year, I did everything expected of a dutiful daughter-in-law, filial to elders, respectful to my parents-in-law. Even when Xie Zhibai spent every night in his study instead of our room, I voiced no complaint. The ginseng soup and snacks were delivered without fail. Like a qualified wife, attentive in every detail. Everyone said the Xie family had married a fine daughter-in-law. My mother-in-law was satisfied too, often praising her own good judgment. But Xie Zhibai wasn't satisfied. What's so good about her? She just follows rules like a lifeless wooden doll. The woman he wanted to marry was someone extraordinary, someone who could compose poetry with him, share heartfelt conversations. When I heard that, I quietly slid the book in my hands beneath the table, lifted my head, and smiled faintly. My husband is right. That only made him angrier. He looked at me in frustration. People say things like that about you, and you don't react at all? Lu Wanning, do you have even a shred of temper? His words hit me so suddenly that I could only stare at him, confused. That made him even more furious. He shouted, "Tonight, you are not allowed to bring me ginseng soup." Then he stormed off, leaving me utterly baffled. My personal maid, assigned to me by my mother-in-law, covered her mouth and giggled. "Young madam, this past year you've treated the young master with unwavering care, ginseng soup, speaking up for him. We've all seen it. The young master may be willful, but he's not a stone that can't be warmed. He may not realize it himself, but between the lines, it's clear he already holds you in his heart." She congratulated me. "Congratulations, young madam. Your wish is about to come true. The old master and madam's long-awaited grandson may not be far off." She congratulated me, but I was so startled that the book slipped from my hands. I would never have imagined Xie Zhibai had such preferences. Didn't he dislike women clinging to him? How did clinging to him suddenly make him start liking it? That very night, I sent 2 beautiful maids into Xie Zhibai's study. I had redeemed them from Spring Breeze House, a pleasure house. Better to be concubines in a noble household than courtesans forever. Naturally, the 2 women were deeply grateful to me and eager to seize this opportunity. After all, if they could win Xie Zhibai's favor, their status would rise several levels. A life of wealth and comfort would be within reach. I was very satisfied. After watching them enter Xie Zhibai's study, I returned to my room with peace of mind and began writing to Lingshuang. She had said winter had arrived, and the fighting at the frontier had grown more brutal. I worried she might be injured, so along with my letter, I included a bottle of top-grade healing medicine my mother had left me. But just as the letter and medicine were sent out, Xie Zhibai stormed into my room, flinging the door open. There were still lipstick marks on his face. His clothes were disheveled. His teeth were clenched in fury. Lu Wanning.
4.
Behind him, the 2 maids who had chased after him stopped short when they saw me. A flicker of awkwardness crossed their faces. I looked at the scene in surprise. Xie Zhibai stared at me, as if he wanted to bore a hole through me. "They said you were the one who told them to go in?" I remained the model daughter-in-law of the Xie family, his most virtuous legal wife. "I've been married into the Xie family for over a year now, yet I've failed to give you an heir. There's already gossip about it. Naturally, I wouldn't dare monopolize my husband any longer, so I found 2 younger sisters to serve you. What is it? Are you not satisfied, husband? You." His eyes widened in fury. "What gossip? Who dares gossip? Clearly you resent the fact that I haven't touched you this past year, so you found 2 cheap, painted women to humiliate me. Lu Wanning, you've really outdone yourself." He flew into a towering rage. Every bit the proud and temperamental eldest son of the Xie family. Even the household staff were stunned. The maid my mother-in-law had assigned to me murmured, "The young master hasn't lost his temper like this in a long time." Anyone could see that Xie Zhibai was truly angry. And the person he was angry at was me. The relationship that had seemed to be thawing suddenly plunged back to freezing. The two maids I had sent looked deeply ashamed. "It's our fault. Not only did we fail to win the young master's favor, we even dragged young madam into this." I looked at the room in shambles and let out a slow breath, the faintest curve touching my lips. "It's fine. It's not your fault." In the end, the result would have been the same. I could finally go back to being the proper young madam of the Xie family. Even better, this time there would be no chance of reconciliation. Because the very next day, Xie Zhibai received orders to march to the frontier, with no set date of return.
5.
On the day he left, I calmly prepared plenty of clothes and food for him, just as always. Yet he looked exactly as he had a year ago, not sparing me a single proper glance. My parents-in-law watched and sighed. My mother-in-law scolded me in disappointment. How could you be so foolish? Why would you send women into his rooms? Anyone with eyes can see that over this past year, I have never had any such feelings toward her." "Father, mother, don't talk nonsense." Xie Zhibai strode past me coldly, cutting them off. He mounted his horse directly, looking down from above. I played dumb, as if I understood nothing. The army began to move out.
He rode with them.
As he passed through the crowd seeing him off, he happened to hear a few sisters-in-law laughing. "She's supposed to be the Lu family's daughter, with Wang blood from Longxi. Yet she's nothing special. It's been a year, and her own husband won't even touch her. Well, now it's even better. Brother Xie's gone to the frontier. Who knows when he'll be back? Isn't she practically a widow in all but name? Let's see how she still has the nerve to hold on to the household authority." They had never thought much of me to begin with. Now they were even more unrestrained. Xie Zhibai's figure stiffened. He stared in disbelief at the gentle, soft-spoken sisters and sisters-in-law who had always treated him kindly. Then he turned back abruptly. I was still standing there, smiling faintly.
"I hadn't lit."
The gossip was real. It had always been real. In fact, far uglier than he had imagined. And those words, I had been hearing them for an entire year since marrying into the Xie family. Lu Wanning. A flicker of regret passed through his eyes. He instinctively wanted to speak. He wanted to apologize. He had been too angry last night. His temper had gotten the better of him. He had wronged me. But I had already turned around and walked back through the gates. Whether I heard him or not, he couldn't tell. And he was already on horseback, marching with the army. There was no turning back. 6. I'll talk to her when I return, he thought. After all, Lu Wanning was generous and virtuous. Over this past year, he could feel it. She loved him deeply. And after being cared for so attentively by her all this time, he couldn't help but feel something in return. Even if she wasn't the bold and dazzling woman he had once imagined. If he truly had no choice but to spend his life with a proper, rule-abiding woman, and that woman was Lu Wanning, then he was willing. So he would wait until he returned. He would apologize properly, and they would live well together. After all, Lu Wanning would never refuse to forgive him. For an entire year, he had neglected her and let her endure those sisters-in-law's mockery. Hadn't she never once blamed him? Thinking this way, his heart settled.
7.
Xie Zhibai's departure lasted 2 years. During that time, the Xie family occasionally received letters from him. In them, he greeted the elders, expressed concern for his parents, and showed affection toward the younger generation. Only rarely did he mention me. The only letter he ever wrote directly to me contained just a few lines. I am fighting on campaign. As a new wife, you should manage the household and be filial to my parents. As for the sisters-in-law, he paused before continuing. They are younger and ignorant. If they say anything improper, bear with them. When I return, I will stand up for you. At the end, there was even a trace of pride. Lu Wanning, when I return, I have something to tell you. You must wait for me. A slap and a sweet date in the same breath. It was almost laughable. He took it for granted that becoming the mistress of the Xie household was the greatest honor of my life. So naturally, everything else I should simply endure. But I married to live better. I fulfilled my duties and received what was due to me. What did his feelings or promises have to do with it? In a great aristocratic clan, marriage and divorce were never decided by one man alone. And his sisters and sisters-in-law? Who could they really threaten? They assumed that as a new bride whose husband had never consummated the marriage, I was practically a widow for 3 years. They never stopped looking down on me, laughing behind their handkerchiefs, isolating me. Who does she think she is? Putting on airs in front of us? It's been 3 years, and she hasn't even laid a single egg. Whether I had laid an egg or not, I didn't know. But I did know that with the authority to manage the household, I could show them what real hardship meant. First, I cut their monthly allowances. Then I sold off their personal servants. Finally, I slashed most of their spending money for cosmetics and clothing. They were furious and humiliated, crying in front of my mother-in-law. But even if they couldn't see clearly, did my mother-in-law not? All these years, I had handled matters properly. Despite her son's neglect, I had never caused a scandal or brought shame to the family. What reason did she have not to protect me? So when they complained, she simply turned a blind eye. Xie Zhibai's younger sister was the most indignant. As she stormed out, she glared at me viciously. Just you wait. When my brother comes back, I'll make sure you pay. No one cared. As for her brother's letters, I merely skimmed them before holding the paper to the candle flame and watching it burn. Then, with anticipation, I opened another letter. Lingshuang wrote that she had been training a hawk lately. Once it was fully trained and she returned, she would tie a string to its leg and let me fly it like a kite. I wonder how the training is going now. As for Xie Zhibai, what did he say again? Something about waiting for him? I shook my head. I couldn't remember.
8.
Ironically, Xie Zhibai's younger sister remembered very clearly. Because when news arrived that Xie Zhibai was returning, she was the first to rush excitedly into my courtyard. Holding a letter in her hand, she grinned triumphantly. Lu Wanning, you're finished. You must be wondering why my brother hasn't written to you for so long, right? Has it been long? I honestly hadn't noticed. She clearly hadn't expected that answer, especially in such a sincere tone, and choked on her words. But then she seemed to remember something and quickly regained her confidence. Drop the act. Do you really think you're securely my sister-in-law? Let me tell you, these past few letters from my brother say that he met a woman and fell in love at first sight. He even mentioned to father and mother that when he comes back, he'll take her as an equal wife. She looked at me gleefully, relishing my supposed misfortune. And Lu Wanning, you didn't expect this, did you? Father and mother have already agreed. They've kept it quiet on purpose, just to keep it from you. When brother returns, it'll be a done deal. But even if you knew in advance, what could you do? Refuse? She waited for me to panic, to look devastated. But I only frowned slightly. How could this be handled that way? Didn't expect that, huh? She lifted her chin smugly. My brother doesn't even like you. When the new sister-in-law enters the household, once you lose favor, he might even divorce you. But I merely said in dissatisfaction. Promoting her to equal wife without formal betrothal rights? That's far too dismissive of the bride. How can that be appropriate? If you kneel and beg me now, I might persuade my brother to leave you a place. Her words cut off abruptly. When she realized what I had said, she stared at me in disbelief. What did you just say? What was there to say? It was just taking an equal wife. Not such a big matter. It wasn't that I could tolerate such humiliation. It was that I didn't need to be the first one angry. Because the first person to explode would definitely be my honorable father, who cared more than anything about face and reputation. No matter how aligned he was with my stepmother, I was still a daughter of the Lu family. If Xie Zhibai truly did this, it would be a slap straight across my father's face. If he didn't fly into a rage and tear into the Xie family over it, I'd be surprised. And if this could enrage my father and set the two great families at each other's throats, why would I be angry? I should be delighted. A double celebration. The only unfortunate one would be the woman Xie Zhibai had fallen for. Caught between two powerful clans, who knew how much she would suffer. But what I never expected was that when Xie Zhibai returned and saw me for the first time, the first thing he said was, "Lingshuang is a good woman. I intend to take her as my equal wife." Me.
9.
I looked up in disbelief. What did you just say, husband? When Xie Zhibai said those words, there was a trace of guilt in his eyes. But when he saw my reaction, he seemed to assume I was being jealous and intolerant. His brows furrowed. Lu Wanning, although you have dutifully served my parents these past 3 years and deserve credit, don't push your luck. Lingshuang is the daughter of the general who pacifies the frontier. She can ride horses and kill enemies. She's nothing like you, so dull and rigid. I imagine that once she enters the household, she won't compete with you for authority over the estate. The two of you can get along peacefully. Wouldn't that be fine? He said that in this lifetime, having just Lingshuang and me would be enough. That these past years of my quiet labor had indeed earned a bit of his affection. But I must be magnanimous and not compete with Lingshuang. After all, Lingshuang was the one he truly loved. Me.
Who cared about that?
What I wanted to ask was, does General Luo know she's to become an equal wife? Heavens! Earlier, I had pitied the woman Xie Zhibai loved, thinking she would be wronged. Now, I only looked at him with pity. I just hoped he wouldn't be beaten to death. But Xie Zhibai clearly had no sense that disaster was looming. At the mention of Lingshuang, his eyes softened with pride. She doesn't know yet. It's a surprise I prepared for her. She must have secretly admired me for a long time. Otherwise, why would she have taken a detour just to travel back to Jinling alongside me? These days, we've spent morning and night together. The more I see her, the more I realize she's truly bold and radiant, so different from you rule-bound, stiff noble ladies. The more he spoke, the more excited he became. He said Lingshuang would often stare intently at him, and when he caught her, she would even smile, though her smile was a bit cool. But that was only because Lingshuang didn't understand a young lady's gentle ways. After all, when he invited her to visit his residence, she had agreed. Xie Zhibai would never forget that night when they had drunk together and talked freely. Luo Lingshuang had asked him pointedly, "General Xie, you are already married. Are you and your wife affectionate?" Thinking of me, he gave a bitter smile. "My wife follows rules to the letter. She is thoroughly uninteresting." Oh. Luo Lingshuang arched a brow. Xie Zhibai failed to notice that her gaze had turned cold as he continued. "I once thought that if I never met the woman I truly loved, I could muddle through life with her. But..." He looked at Luo Lingshuang with infatuation, hesitating. "I cannot bear to wrong the one I truly cherish." Then he probed, "And what about General Luo?"
Thud.
Her wine cup landed lightly but firmly on the table. Luo Lingshuang lifted her eyes and looked at him, her smile edged with frost. "When it comes to someone I care about, I always take their side. If anyone dares slight her in the least, I wouldn't mind twisting that bastard's head off." Her tone was airy, almost casual. For some reason, Xie Zhibai felt a chill, but he paid it little mind. He only assumed that Luo Lingshuang already valued him that much. After all, throughout the journey, he had felt they were just one step away from confessing their feelings. Lingshuang is shy and won't say it to me directly. Since that's the case, I won't disappoint her. When she arrives shortly, you'd better not give her a cold face. He warned me, clearly worried that I might cry or make a scene and embarrass Lingshuang. But I suddenly felt there was a very large misunderstanding. I almost wanted to explain. The daughter of the general who pacifies the frontier, how could she possibly become someone's equal wife? Even if Lingshuang agreed, Uncle Luo would beat Xie Zhibai to death. She was his only daughter. By rights, it shouldn't be so, Xie Zhibai admitted. But Lingshuang has spent years on the battlefield, appearing in public, fighting openly. Though she's earned merit unlike other women, her reputation has inevitably suffered. Otherwise, she wouldn't still be unmarried. A trace of pity crossed his eyes. But I am not narrow-minded. Equal wife is the highest position I can offer her. When she marries into this family, I will conduct the proper rites and won't wrong her. Wanning, you're understanding. Surely you'll stand by my side in this, won't you? The words sounded deeply affectionate, but I laughed. A laugh of anger. He claimed to pity Lingshuang and called himself broad-minded. Yet in the end, no matter how prettily he dressed it up, wasn't he still only offering her the position of equal wife? I couldn't help the fury rising in me. Not for myself. Not for his thin-hearted decision to take another wife. But for Lingshuang. Such a remarkable woman. Yet she was being insulted like this. So I let my face go cold. Impossible.
10.
What? Xie Zhibai froze. He had never imagined I would say no, and so firmly. After all, in his eyes, I was the obedient, virtuous wife, the ideal woman who would follow him unquestioningly, observing the Confucian virtues of obedience and propriety. No matter what he said or did, I would never get angry. But now, I looked at him coldly. I said, impossible. I will never allow you to bring her into the household, and I will never allow you to take her as an equal wife. My icy tone even surprised Xie Zhibai. Lu Wanning, have you lost your mind? He laughed in anger. I thought you were virtuous and magnanimous, but I never expected that my small favor toward you would make you so overbearing and domineering. I remained indifferent. Think whatever you want. As long as I'm here, I will never consent. Xie Zhibai waved his hand. I don't need your approval to marry Lingshuang. He was genuinely angry. Angry at my objection, and even more angry that, for the first time, I was so resolute. It was to stop him from being with the woman he favored. His motion was so forceful that it shoved me slightly, sending me stumbling. I lost my balance, taking 2 faltering steps backward, instinctively tipping toward the floor. Xie Zhibai's eyes widened in alarm. Panic flickered across his face as he quickly reached out. Wanning. 11. But he didn't catch me. At that exact moment, a hand reached from behind and steadied me. I turned to see a woman in full armor, radiating martial vigor, raising an eyebrow at me. Lu Wanning? This is the pile of cow dung you married?
12.
Lingshuang. It must have been 8 years since I last saw her. She had grown taller, and her years on the frontier fighting enemies had left her skin a healthy tan. Her arms were taut, muscles and veins visible with every flex. As to why her veins stood out, well, battles will do that. Lingshuang, what are you doing here? Seeing that I was unharmed, Xie Zhibai exhaled in relief. Then, catching sight of Lingshuang, his eyes lit up with delight. He looked completely different from the high-handed, guarded man he usually was toward me. But before he could enjoy it, Lingshuang raised her hand and punched him squarely. Lingshuang? Why are you attacking me? Xie Zhibai was shocked, instinctively defending himself. But Lingshuang's movements were fast and aggressive. She didn't give him any chance, kicked him down with precision, sneering. This one's for you. Crack. I heard the sound of bone breaking. Lingshuang was already standing over him, blocking me behind her, looking down with a cold glare at Xie Zhibai's stunned face. Each word cut sharply. Xie Zhibai, have I ever told you? I, Luo Lingshuang, always protect those I care for. If anyone dares slight them in the slightest, I won't hesitate to twist their head off. He opened his eyes wide, trying to speak. But Lingshuang raised her foot again, ready to stamp down with full force. 13. Lingshuang. Her foot froze just before it came down. The armored woman turned her head, and Xie Zhibai on the ground looked toward me. I instinctively grabbed Lingshuang's hand and shook my head. No need to hit him. This was my usual gesture to calm her whenever she got angry. The only daughter of the general who pacifies the frontier was notoriously hot-tempered. Once upset, no one could stop her. If anyone provoked her, light consequences meant broken bones, severe ones meant partial paralysis. But no one knew her well. In truth, Lingshuang was easy to appease. A simple tug on her hand could dissolve her anger. Sure enough, noticing my gesture, her expression softened slightly. She retracted her foot, though she wasn't exactly happy, and asked stiffly, "You're trying to reason with me for him?" Hearing that, Xie Zhibai looked at me with a mix of emotion and guilt. Then he saw me shake my head like a rattle. You've just returned to Jinling. Don't make enemies or incur the emperor's displeasure. This is not good for you. Xie Zhibai was the legitimate heir of the Xie family and had earned military merit. If he seriously injured someone, even if the emperor favored the Luo family, it wouldn't end well. Sure enough, upon hearing my words, Lingshuang's expression softened a little more. I exhaled in relief. But then, unfortunately, a shrill scream rang out. I immediately knew something was wrong, but it was already too late. Xie Zhibai's younger sister saw what happened, fury flaring as she stepped forward, pointing at me, her voice sharp and piercing. "Lu Wanning, you're so jealous and resentful that my brother is taking an equal wife. You actually ordered someone to hurt him? Jealous wife harming husband. You know that's one of the 7 grounds for divorce, right? The Xie family won't let this go. Not you, nor the accomplice you brought. You vile, jealous woman." The last words landed. I closed my eyes, completely drained. Then a horrifying scream followed. Xie Zhibai's younger sister had been slapped so hard she flew across the room, and the foot she had tried to retract onto Xie Zhibai's chest finally came down. Crack. The sound was sharp and crisp. The break was complete. 14. The Xie family was in chaos. Complete chaos. Their legitimate heir, absent for 2 years, had just returned, only to have 2 of his ribs brutally broken. The household's most pampered, coddled youngest daughter had been slapped unconscious. When she was helped up, her face was swollen like a pig's. Seeing this, Xie Zhibai's parents nearly fainted on the spot. They didn't because this time I no longer intervened to steady them like before. Instead, I stood firmly on the side of the instigator. "What do you mean by this, eldest daughter-in-law?" Xie Ho's voice was severe. Xie's mother had lost her usual gentleness. She stepped forward. Your husband and his sister were injured, their eyes nearly damaged, and yet you just stand there? Where has your cleverness gone? And who are you to dare harm my son?" She pointed at Lingshuang haughtily. "A man yet unmanly, a woman yet unwomanly. What sort of sight is this?" I had already calmed down. I didn't bow my head in apology, nor did I lower my eyes like before. Instead, I raised my hand to stop Lingshuang from punishing Xie's mother and stepped forward, meeting her gaze. "Mother-in-law, this is the last time I will address you this way. I, Lu Wanning, since marrying into the Xie family, have been filial to my in-laws, managed the household, and done my utmost, never shirking my duties. Even though Xie Zhibai repeatedly neglected me and my sisters-in-law mocked me, I never complained. I spoke each word clearly, recounting the family scandals they had always avoided discussing. Around us, neighbors had long since perked up their ears. But I did not stop. From this moment, I would no longer be a Xie family daughter-in-law. Being a Xie daughter-in-law meant being virtuous, protecting one's husband, respecting elders, and managing subordinates. But I could no longer do that. They could speak against me, but they could not scold Lingshuang. I had endured enough under my stepmother, but Lingshuang defended the frontier, achieved great military merit, and should not be belittled by such a decayed relic. Xie's mother seemed to sense something wrong, stammering, You're criticizing your husband, your sisters-in-law, and us elders?" She wanted me to shut my mouth. In such a prominent family, once I spoke, the news would surely spread throughout Jinling. Where would the Xie family's face be then? But what did that have to do with me? I spoke steadily, neither humble nor arrogant. I originally thought that even if you disliked it, at least you would not disrespect me. But unexpectedly, I entered the Xie household with a clean conscience and no fault, and yet you secretly planned to elevate a secondary wife. Such shame and humiliation, no daughter of a respectable family could endure it. I exhaled, and in front of their incredulous eyes, I threw down a letter. Since ancient times, a woman has 7 grounds for divorce. If one is violated, she may leave. Now, Xie Zhibai's greed knows no bounds and ignores propriety. I, Lu Wanning, am also entitled to end this marriage. 15.
Gulp.
Someone swallowed. The sound was unusually loud in the still night. You dare to divorce your husband? Xiao staggered back, eyes wide with shock. Traditionally, only men divorced wives. How could a woman divorce a man? It was utterly unprecedented. No matter how they thought about it, they could never have imagined that a rigid, conventional woman like me would take such a shocking action. But I had been planning it for some time. This divorce letter had been ready the moment I learned Xie Zhibai intended to marry a secondary wife. The only question was when to reveal it. Why not? Why can your precious son do as he pleases, but my Wanning cannot? Lingshuang spoke confidently, with full assurance. Xiao, still reeling from the shock of a woman divorcing her husband, muttered. Ignoring propriety? When did my son ignore propriety? Xiao doesn't know yet, does he? Lingshuang's smile grew even more triumphant. Wanning is my sworn sister. And my name is Luo Lingshuang.
16. Thud.
Xie's mother's silk fan dropped in shock. Her eyes widened as if she were a wooden statue. They had known that Xie Zhibai planned to take a secondary wife. That woman was Luo Lingshuang, the only daughter of General Zhenyuan. They had known that too. Otherwise, they never would have agreed. Even though they despised a woman leading soldiers and appearing in public, she was still the general's only daughter. If married, and the Luo family had no other heirs, wouldn't all future descendants belong to the Xie family? And once brought into the household, she would obediently bear children in the inner chambers. They could accept that. Thus, they had secretly concealed it from me, planning to inform me only after the fact. But they did not expect that I would inform them first, nor that Lingshuang had no interest in Xie Zhibai and that I was Lingshuang's sworn sister. Now, Xie Zhibai wanted to elevate a secondary wife, not ignoring propriety. What else could it be called? Enough. Enough. Listen. Go inside and shut the door. Quickly. Xie's mother shouted like a madwoman. Such a scandal. How could she show her face again if it spread? But it was too late. Everything that needed to be heard had already been heard. I grabbed Lingshuang and walked out of the Xie residence amidst the chaos. The house I had lived in for 3 years. On the way, she was unusually quiet. I asked, nervously, "Why aren't you speaking?" My palms were sweaty. Unlike Lingshuang, I had grown up strictly controlled. My mother taught me to be a virtuous wife and good mother. My father taught me obedience and propriety. Later, with my stepmother in charge, I had to be even more cautious. I had never done anything outrageous, but today, I did. And it was an act that would shock the entire realm. I could even imagine how furious the Xie family would be and how my father would rage. The person I was holding suddenly stopped. Her voice was slightly awkward. "I thought you were angry with me."
Why?
I was puzzled. She was half a head taller than me, shrugged, and as always, spoke plainly and honestly. "When I first came, I stomped on the pile of cow dung you married, slapped your sister-in-law, and even defied your in-laws." I snorted. "They started it first. Sometimes, a single choice can shatter an entire world. But what happens when standing up for yourself collides with family, tradition, and duty? Let's see how Wanning takes control of her fate in the midst of uproar." 17. How could Lingshuang be at fault? Even if she were, didn't Xie Zhibai and his parents bear responsibility? But Lingshuang shook her head, correcting me gently. "They provoked you." She looked at me, a smile in her eyes. "Wanning, you've grown up." I blushed, feeling shy, and modestly said, Not at all. I hadn't always been an obedient girl. I had just had to pretend while living in the inner chambers. Then why stop pretending now? Lingshuang asked. I lifted my gaze to the moon, as if the last chain had been removed, and laughed freely. Because I've earned enough silver to leave. 3 years. 3 years of lying low in the Xie household, away from my father and stepmother's oppression. I had finally earned enough to support myself. I had the confidence to leave, and had been ready to go for some time. All that talk about noble daughters-in-law and virtuous wives. Gone to hell with it. I waved my hand. But you. I didn't know I became Uncle Luo's adopted daughter. Lingshuang looked at me with delight, and I could see she was happy too. It's my decision. At most, you'll accompany me to the frontier, and then you can kowtow to him once. It's that simple.
Yes.
To the frontier. She came specifically to bring me there. Originally, she had taken a detour on the way back to Jinling with Xie Zhibai just to see whether he had treated me well. If I truly lived the happy life described in the letter, she would return afterward. But if it was false, she would take me away, no matter what, through imperial intervention or by trading military merit. Easier said than done. But actually leaving? That would be far from simple.
18.
Lingshuang took me to live at the Jinyuan general's residence in Jinling. By the next day, Jinling was in an uproar. The eldest son of the Xie family intended to marry a secondary wife, but it was the famous female warrior of the Luo family, Luo Lingshuang. And this Luo Lingshuang happened to be the sworn sister of Xie Zhibai's legitimate wife. The Xie family's actions were seen as shameless and immoral. Even more shocking, this formerly virtuous, top-ranking daughter-in-law, the pride of Jinling and daughter of a minister, had divorced Xie Zhibai in broad daylight and eloped with a Luo family woman. It was outrageous, unprecedented. Jinling buzzed with gossip. My father, a high-ranking minister, was furious and the first to confront us. He normally could not enter the general's residence, but no one stopped him. Upon arrival, he saw me and Lingshuang peacefully in the courtyard, she practicing swordplay, I peeling grapes for her. His face turned red with rage. Rebellious girl. What on earth have you done? Outside, the world was in chaos, but we were calm. No wonder he was angry. My stepmother fanned the flames. Oh dear, eldest miss, what foolish things have you done? 3 wives and 4 concubines are normal for men. How can a lady of the household have no tolerance? Didn't Madame Wang teach you before? And yet you dare divorce your husband? Now all of Jinling is laughing at our family. Before she could finish, my father stepped forward, intending to drag me back to kneel and apologize to the Xie family. Go kneel. Explain that you were insane, that all you said before was madness. If not, I will make you regret it. But could that old man lay a hand on me? The moment he reached, Lingshuang's sword came down. He barely dodged, leaving a shallow but bleeding cut along his arm. My stepmother panicked. Eldest miss, what are you doing? Do you intend to murder your father? She tried to heap blame on me. But I stood up, stepped toward her, and said, Madame Lu, you are mistaken. A flash of triumph crossed her eyes, the look of I knew it. The next moment, I slapped her twice. Not only have I defied my father, I've struck my mother too. She cried out in pain, collapsing, while I stood above her, coldly smirking. You are not my mother. You are merely the stepmother and have no right to lecture me. My father covered his arm, eyes cold as he looked at Lingshuang and me. Miss Luo, does General Jinyuan know you're acting like this? Lingshuang's sword remained pointed at him, her tone equally icy. Minister Lu, please summon the general.
20.
Ungrateful daughter. Only by killing can you restore your family's honor. My father's face remained emotionless. Otherwise, what becomes of the Lu family's reputation? He didn't fear Lingshuang. All of this is allowed under the law of our court. I am merely handling family matters. General Luo, do you think you can interfere in my affairs? Are you not afraid I'll report you to His Majesty? You truly deserve to die. Even Lingshuang, who had fought countless battles on the frontier and seen her share of human cruelty, was shocked by his cold-blooded audacity.
But me?
I was different. I was ready. If father insists on this, then this daughter will provide General Luo with evidence of how father seizes peasants' lands, bribes officials, and manipulates others. Let him present it to His Majesty himself. Since I had prepared to leave both the Lu and Xie families, how could I be caught unprepared? If a confrontation was coming, so be it. As it turned out, my father wasn't ready to risk everything. He narrowed his eyes, looking at me with a seriousness he had never shown before, like he was sizing up a brother or a subordinate. You threaten me? What about the Xie family? You're utterly devoted to their eldest son. Do you just abandon that? I met his gaze calmly. Father, that's strange. I respect and honor him, regardless of who my husband is. But how does that have anything to do with love? Who would love someone who belittles and humiliates them and wants to marry their own sworn sister as a secondary wife? Outside, there were sounds of crashing and thumping. But no one inside the courtyard paid any attention. 21. My father left. He went in a fit of frustration. My stepmother tried to add fuel to the fire. Eldest miss, how can you be so heartless to your father? Truly rebellious and immoral. I smiled. Madam Lu, you'd better say less. Otherwise, I might just reveal how you've been secretly placing your relatives in offices using father's influence, and how you lost 20,000 taels at the gambling house without telling father or his brothers. Her mouth went dry. My father shot her a glare that could have set fire to the world. I was very satisfied. Lingshuang leaned on her hand, smiling at me. I touched my face. Do I have something on my face? She shook her head, a slight smile on her lips. You've really become the old Wanning again. The old Wanning, probably around 8 or 9 years old. Back then my father and stepmother weren't so strict. They wouldn't have known. The stone that Lingshuang almost broke my stepbrother's leg with, I picked it up. I chuckled self-deprecatingly. The timid, clumsy Wanning wasn't very likable, was she? Lingshuang shook her head. Wanning is Wanning. No matter what, she's always likable. If you don't want to be timid, just beat back anyone who bullies you. Not sit there like a weakling, letting people pick on you from every direction. Outside, more crashing noises sounded. Still, no one paid attention. 22. I asked Lingshuang when we would leave for the frontier. She ate the grapes I had peeled for her and looked toward the door. Wait a little longer. 5 days later, His Majesty hosted a welcoming banquet. Of course, Xie Zhibai and Lingshuang were there. What I didn't expect was, I was on the guest list too. I didn't understand why, but Lingshuang patted my shoulder. Since I came to take you, I never intended for you to leave under shame. Wanning, you deserve to leave in glory. 23. On the day of the banquet, we ran into Xie Zhibai. Most of his injuries had healed, but he looked dejected. Even as a decorated war hero, he lacked the usual swagger. Seeing Lingshuang, he flinched, perhaps remembering his pain. There was no trace of love left in his eyes. He had talked about liking free-spirited women, but he hadn't expected that a free-spirited woman could strike back. In hindsight, gentle and tender women were warmer at heart. So he said to me, Wanning, I regret it. Before, I wronged you. I didn't realize how much you suffered because of me, nor did I know that leaving you would make me restless. You don't know. Ever since you left the Xie household, the sisters-in-law have been fighting constantly, demanding control over the estate. The second sister-in-law even bought spoiled fish to save money. They caused our parents to fall ill for days, and they pocketed all the extra silver. Seeing my expression, he thought he was making progress, so he continued. You kept the younger sisters in line before. Outwardly, they behaved with manners. But now, without you, mother's sick and no one manages them. They fought at the banquet, and the news of their arrogance spread. And the one they attacked? It was their future sister-in-law, ruining her prospects too. The more he spoke, the more he realized he had mistaken pearls for stones. Wanning, I know you're angry, but now I admit my fault. I won't dispute the divorce you wrote. We are even. You'll come back and we can return to how things were. How about that? You bastard. What nonsense. Lingshuang frowned, clenching her fists, ready to strike. I held her hand, looked at Xie Zhibai calmly.
No.
Xie Zhibai froze. He thought an apology would make everything easy. The eldest son of the Xie family had never humbled himself to anyone. What more could I want? But I was far from satisfied. Xie Zhibai, you caused me suffering. You humiliated me, and now you want to treat their misfortune as bargaining chips? Besides, I fought with the Xie family. If they suffer, I take satisfaction. But you're their son and brother. How can you use this as a game? With each word, his face paled further. Xie Zhibai, you've always been selfish. Returning to the past with you? That would be a nightmare for me. I grabbed Lingshuang's hand and walked forward. He snapped out of his daze. No, Wanning. I can change, you can't leave. You are my wife, you've always been my wife. It's her, right? He pointed at Lingshuang, furious. She's rebellious. She wants to corrupt you. Don't trust her. Smack. He got slapped by me. My gaze was icy. Xie Zhibai, try saying another word about Lingshuang. He staggered, dumbfounded, just in time to see Lingshuang standing behind me, smirking in triumph. He gritted his teeth. You cannot leave, Wanning. I know now, the one I love is you. Even if I have to use tricks, I won't let you go. He sounded possessed. At today's victory banquet, I will ask His Majesty to officially grant you your title. Everyone will know you are Xie Zhibai's wife. You will leave in glory as the general's wife. I looked at him as if seeing him for the first time, disgusted by his helplessness. You're insane. I made no move to stop Lingshuang this time, letting him receive another beating. 24. That said, I still felt restless sitting at the victory banquet. I didn't want Lingshuang to worry. I tried to reassure myself. Xie Zhibai was selfish. If they were awarding merits and ranks, how could he possibly use such a golden opportunity to petition for my official title? More importantly, if I were granted a title, then my life would truly be bound to the Xie family forever. On the high platform, the emperor's voice rang out. The soldiers stationed at the frontier have all served with merit. Now that the seas are calm and the rivers peaceful, I will naturally reward achievements. Ministers, you may speak freely, do not restrain yourselves. Those called upon naturally hesitated, unwilling to step forward. Only Xie Zhibai knelt suddenly. Your Majesty? I clenched my fists so tightly my nails cut into my palms. Your Majesty. A brighter voice exploded beside me. I looked in astonishment at Lingshuang, kneeling with unwavering eyes, speaking without hesitation. I have one wish. I wish to use my past military merits to request His Majesty's favor. Her voice carried through the hall. Xie Zhibai, interrupted, fumed. Luo Lingshuang, what are you doing? Are you trying to get Wanning a title before me? She is your sworn sister, not your wife. Lingshuang ignored him and repeated firmly. I request His Majesty's approval. Oh, the emperor arched an eyebrow, a spark of interest in his eyes. The entire city of Jinling knew about the Xie, Lu, and Luo families' scandal. The emperor would not be unaware. But he enjoyed the spectacle and deliberately left the Lu and Xie families in suspense. After all, the Luo family's influence was significant, but Lingshuang was only one daughter. She could not outshine her father. The Xie and Lu families, however, were a different matter. Ministers, speak. Lingshuang. I instinctively reached for her sleeve. But Lingshuang had already begun. My father has only one daughter in his life. When I was young and lonely, it was my sworn sister Wanning who never abandoned me, always defended me, and never left my side. Because of this, my father recognized Wanning as my sworn daughter. But over the years, I have been stationed far away at the frontier with my father, unable to give her the care she deserved. Meanwhile, my sworn sister married into the Xie family and suffered countless hardships, known by all in Jinling. She is kind-hearted and virtuous. She does not deserve such a fate. Therefore, my father and I come before your majesty, offering my past military merits, to request that your majesty grant my sworn sister the title of county lady, so that she may soon return to the frontier with me to honor her father in filial duty. Her words were clear, resolute, and each syllable struck every person present. Xie Zhibai was dumbfounded. My father could not help but slam the table. Her biological father is here. What frontier? What filial duty? Lingshuang smiled coldly at this. So Lord Lu knows he is Wanning's father. Then pray tell, where were you while Wanning suffered in the Xie household? You. My father faltered, teeth clenched. She was his legitimate wife, following the 3 obediences and 4 virtues. What else could she do? Now, as a sworn daughter, fulfilling filial duty before her father. That, too, is what she ought to do. You're just twisting things. He wanted to argue more, but the emperor had no intention of listening. He fixed his gaze on Lingshuang. Is this your wish, or the general's? You want nothing else? Remember, the Luo family had achieved remarkable military merit. If they requested something, the emperor could not easily refuse. If a county title could erase all past achievements, it would be like manna from heaven. Lingshuang bowed her head. My father and I are of the same mind. Your Majesty.
Xie Zhibai tried to speak,
But the emperor slammed his hand on the table, pleased. Very well, I grant it. The noble heart of General Luo's daughter is fulfilled. Let Lu Wanning be granted the title of Lady of Jianing, enjoy her stipend, and soon return with the Luo army to the frontier to honor her father. The emperor's word left no room for reversal. My father froze on the spot. Xie Zhibai slumped to the ground. Lingshuang pulled me down with her, and we both kowtowed, thanks to His Majesty's grace.
25.
As Lingshuang had said, I truly left for the frontier in glory. The criticisms about my divorce disappeared under the title of Lady of Jianing. Life on the frontier was harsh, but I had Uncle Luo and Lingshuang. I bowed to Uncle Luo. The burly man laughed heartily. Excellent, excellent. The general has gained another daughter. Let Lu Xingling regret not appreciating her later. I hear he's recently been impeached for corruption. He won't enjoy much success anyway. And the Xie family is in chaos. Xie Zhibai helped his younger siblings cover their messes, acted unjustly, and is now being reprimanded. Truly a triple blessing. He was delighted. Suddenly, he saw the jade token at my waist, eyes widening. Isn't this the gift from the Luo family for their future daughter-in-law? He squinted and yelled, You brat! How dare you give this away? Lingshuang, polishing her sword, annoyed, shouted back. I only have one daughter. If she won't have a daughter-in-law, why not give it to Wanning? At least she'll look nice wearing it. A simple, honest reason. I couldn't help but smile softly. Tears welled up. I knew these were tears of happiness. The end. Watching her storm in and protect her friend, I couldn't help but smile. This story isn't just about betrayal or love. It's about loyalty, courage, and knowing when to stand up for yourself. If you loved this chaos as much as I did, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more dramatic tales. Until next time.